Now, there are a few things that gamers find more enjoyable than having a multiplayer session with their friends, so long as they're not the ones being absolutely pummeled by them. Whether you're taking part in a battle royale, a beat-em-up, or a tactical RPG, the goal is always the same. Make sure that you're the last person standing, and as such, you need to use whatever tools you can to stay on top, whether it's guns, swords, or your own fists. Now, although certain attacks can give you an advantage, there's usually some counterbalance to keep things fair. Powerful attacks are often quite slow. Quick attacks leave you vulnerable if you miss, and in Mario Kart, for example, you only receive the best power-ups when you're losing, and mechanics like this are crucial to level the playing field. But the developers might not have realized that certain attacks are way too powerful. If you pick up a weapon that kills anyone with one shot, well, the other players don't stand a chance. If a special move can wipe the floor with anyone in seconds, well, you can just win it by spamming, and that's what we're here to talk about today. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 of the most overpowered multiplayer attacks that everyone hated. Number 10, Vex MYTHOCLAST. Destiny. If you type the words overpowered weapon into any search engine, Destiny's Vex MYTHOCLAST is sure to pop up. I mean, honestly, how could it not? Being the most powerful weapon in Bungie's online shooter, you'd expect the Vex to pack a punch. But if you're equipped with this fusion rifle, you're not really giving your competition a fighting chance. Not only does this bad boy fire devastating projectiles, it has no charge time. And with a fire rate of 390 RPM, the Vex works like a machine gun more than a rifle. And if you thought this boomstick gave you an unfair advantage, you wait until you upgrade it. By adding modifiers and perks, the Vex gives the player improved range, accuracy, agility, recoil, and a larger magazine. Basically, if you see somebody armed with this weapon, your best bet is to run away and hope they go after another poor unfortunate soul. Due to the criticism, Bungie created a patch that reduced the Vex's power by 34%, but despite being muted, it's still the best weapon in either Destiny installment, further highlighting just how overpowered this death machine was in the first place. Number 9, the Cerebral Boar, TUROK 2, Seeds of Evil. Look, there's nothing wrong with overpowered weapons in a multiplayer battle in theory. There's also nothing wrong with insta-kill weapons. After all, you're not guaranteed victory if you pick up a grenade or a bazooka. You still have to strategize the best way to use that weapon. So therefore, ultimate weapons are really only unfair if they give the enemy zero chance of survival. Sadly, that is the case with TUROK 2 Seeds of Evil. Anytime that somebody picks up the Cerebral Boar, when you activate this device, it automatically locks onto the nearest person, drills a hole in their skull, and sucks their brains out. And when you're playing through the main campaign, there's nothing more satisfying than watching dinos running in terror after you whip out this gadget. But when it comes to the multiplayer, the Cerebral Boar ruins everything. If you are near your rivals while armed with this doohickey, they're just dead meat. You don't even need to see your target. If you're close to other players, the Cerebral Boar will find them and kill them with Liam Neeson efficiency. And since your opponents can't outrun the boar once the boar has locked onto them, well, it's just not fair on anyone. Number 8, SELF-DESTRUCT, the Pokemon series. At first, SELF-DESTRUCT seems like the dumbest move in Pokemon. Not only does the attack kill the user, it doesn't guarantee that the opponent will die. But when you learn how to handle self-destruct, it becomes your secret weapon. If your opponent is down to its last Pokemon and you have 2 left, you have nearly a 100% chance of winning if one of your party pulls off this move. Even if your rival manages to survive, they'll have so little health left, the most basic attack should finish them off. And because players have been relying on this immoral tactic since Gen 1, gamers were wary when facing Electrode, Weezing, Gensect and the like, since they gain the self-destruct ability when they level up. However, it's easy to forget that there actually are dozens and dozens of other Pokemon who can be equipped with the self-destruct TM. You'd never expect a Wigglytuff or a Licky to go kaboom whilst facing them, which causes you to let your guard down. And even if you do beat somebody with a self-destruct, you're never going to be proud of yourself, since you know deep down that this is such an unethical move. Number 7, Ivy's Snake Sword, the Soul Calibur series. Soul Calibur's Ivy Valentine is a gaming icon. She has a unique design, a ton of sex appeal, and a literal cutting-edge fighting style. On top of that, her whip sword is probably one of the coolest weapons in gaming. But because of her overpowered snake sword, everybody hates actually fighting her. Ivy's chained blade can elongate up to 10 feet, allowing her to smack her opponent even if they're on the other side of the screen. And because it's an instant KO if you knock your rival off the arena, you can win the battle within seconds if you just spam this attack right away. And because there are very few projectile attacks in Soul Calibur, the only way to stop Ivy from performing these dirty tactics is to get up close and personal. Unfortunately, she has a barrage of tactics to keep her enemies at bay. Because she twirls her whole body when she whips out her whip, her rival can never tell which direction it's coming from, so they don't know how to counter. If she performs Fear's Void, her blade will lash at her combatant from underground. I mean, how could you see that coming? However, Ivy's most annoying attack is Ancient Wheels, where she spins spins her blade around in a circle, preventing her opponent from getting near her without getting hacked up. Because she stays low to the ground whilst performing this move, her foe can't strike at her from any distance. So yeah, she's actually got a ton of annoying moves. Number 6. Explosive Gatling Laser, Fallout 76. Being Bethesda's first multiplayer game, Fallout 76 should have been a big deal, but due to the performance problems, lack of game modes, and non-existent human NPCs at launch, this abominable sequel felt more like a bare-bones demo rather than a finished product. The multiplayer also suffered from an imbalanced range of weapons, especially the explosive Gatling laser. It may be a slog to reload and needs to spin up before firing, but this rapid-firing monstrosity more than makes up for it. And that's before upgrades get involved. The wielder doesn't have to worry about anyone in their vicinity being left alive once their ammo runs dry. If you pair the Gatling laser with certain perks so it shoots additional projectiles, well, there's just no way anyone in the arena is leaving with a pulse. Even though we all love handling a super weapon, the Gatling laser takes the fun out of everything. Because this mobile tank allows you to complete the hardest challenges in a matter of seconds, you don't actually enjoy it. And the gun's power was so out of control, Bethesda had to step in. When a patch was installed to remove the Gatling laser's explosive mod, pretty much everyone said, yeah, that's fair enough. Number 5. King K. Rool's Grab, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Since Super Smash Bros. Launch, people have been begging the creators to incorporate King K. Rool into a sequel, but when Donkey Kong's arch nemesis was added to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's roster, fans couldn't help but think of the proverb, be careful what you wish for. K. Rool is the second heaviest character in the game, making him very difficult to knock off platforms. Combined with the fact that his up special keeps him in the air almost as long as Kirby, means that the crowned Kremling is the hardest combatant to toss off screen. Not only does he have terrific projectiles and a sturdy shield, his attacks have devastating launch power and a meteor smash capability. His blunderbuss pushes opponents away, making it tough for anyone to get near him, and also he has the best recovery of any heavyweight character. But the worst thing about K. Rool is his hurling skills. His down throw can paralyze his opponent, allowing the Regal Croc to raise their damage meter to 40% with a single strike. And if his enemy's damage meter is 40% plus, K. Rool can kill them with another solid hurl. Even though K. Rool has been toned down a lot since, players still quake in their boots anytime this chunky reptile appears in the arena. Number 4. DL-44, Star Wars Battlefront. Outside of lightsabers, Han Solo's DL-44 blaster is the most recognizable weapon in Star Wars. As a result, it's no surprise that this prized pistol is the last weapon unlocked in Star Wars Battlefront. Even though this gun seems relatively simple, there is no question that it is the most overpowered weapon in the game. Capable of killing anyone in 2 shots from a distance of 20 meters, you have more chance of surviving an encounter with a Rancor. Heck, many players would rather tangle with Darth Bloody Vader than go against somebody armed with this blaster. The DL-44's only drawback is that it takes a while to cool down if it's overused. However, your opponent is likely long to be dead before that becomes an issue. The most infuriating thing about this infernal pistol is the fact that players could unlock it straight away if they pre-ordered Star Wars Battlefront. So when the game debuted, the multiplayer was filled with blaster wielders killing everyone on sight, not giving anyone else a chance. Although an update made the DL-44 more balanced, this godforsaken weapon has never managed to shake off the stigma. Number 3. E-Honda's 100-Hand Slap, Street Fighter II. Street Fighter II popularized many concepts in the fighting genre, including projectiles, grabs, free hits, and combos. Unfortunately, Street Fighter II also promoted cheap moves. Even though Dhalsim's stretchy arms and M. Bison's Psycho Crusher gave them an edge in battle, nobody is as overpowered as E-Honda. Although his moveset varies from game to game, Edmund Honda, yes, that is his real name, always utilizes his flying headbutt and the flying sumo smash. If these were E-Honda's only special moves, this Yokozuna would be considered a rather balanced fighter. Which brings us to the deadliest attack in the entire franchise, the 100-Hand Slap. By mashing the punch button, E-Honda unleashes a flurry of strikes which can clean out his opponent's health bar in 3 seconds flat. If the first slap hits you, you can't block, allowing the sumo champ to finish his assault without interruption. And the hand slap can counter almost any special save for projectiles, giving E-Honda a rather unfair advantage. Worse still, the player doesn't have to exert any effort in to pull off this attack because all you have to do is press one button repeatedly. The 100-Hand Slap may have been nerfed in later installments, but it serves as E-Honda's signature and most annoying move. Number 2. The FARSIGHT XR20, Perfect Dark. GoldenEye 007 has plenty of cheap weapons, including the proximity mines, the grenade launcher, and the bloody golden gun. And this iconic first-person shooter's spiritual successor, Perfect Dark, had a look at these gizmos and said, haha, I can do this much better or worse, depending on who's shooting. If anyone in Perfect Dark's multiplayer picked up the FARSIGHT XR20, the other players might as well stand still and wait to be put out of their misery. And why is this weapon so deadly? Well, firstly, the FARSIGHT kills anyone with one shot, whether they're hit in the head or the pinky. Secondly, the rare railgun has an X-ray function, making it impossible for other players to hide. The bullets can also pierce any surface, allowing the shooter to kill their enemy even if they're 50 feet away and standing behind a titanium wall. But that's not the worst part, because if you use the FARSIGHT secondary mode, it will home in on its adversaries. And because of this, you don't even have to look for your targets once you pick up this alien rifle, since it will hunt them down automatically. So if the FARSIGHT is in the arena, the winner isn't decided by skill, but by who happens to reach this godlike weapon first. And number 1, Lightning, the Mario Kart series. Even though the blue shell from Mario Kart is hated by many, it's a great tool to stop one player from dominating. No matter how far ahead the racer in first place is, this spiny power-up can put an end to that in an instant. But Lightning doesn't just screw over one player, it screws over everyone. When this power-up is activated, the other racers shrink, causing them to drive at a snail's pace. But worst of all, regular-sized racers can squash these miniature rivals, causing them to waste time while they reinflate. And if this happens to you while you're dead last, well, you might as well restart. The blue shell may be annoying, but it at least has the courtesy to alert you when it's coming. Not only can you see this deadly projectile on the map, you hear it when it approaches. But because you have zero warning when the lightning is about to be used, you can't exactly prepare for it. This is extra irritating if you're racing on a level where you need to be regular sized to perform certain maneuvers, because if anyone used lightning in Wario Stadium before the big jump, they'll be sent back a quarter of the track if they fail to clear it. Because lightning is so infuriating, you'd assume the developers would make the power-up more balanced, but in recent years, they've done quite the opposite. In the original, lightning appeared once every blue moon, but in Mario Kart 8, this infernal item can be unleashed on racers 3 or 4 times per bloody race. Oh dear. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 of the most overpowered multiplayer attacks that everyone hated. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, where it's at RetroJ, but the O is a 0. Hope to see you over there, my friends. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Hope you're treating yourself well with love and respect, because you deserve the bloody best things in life, alright? And do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise. You are a massive ledge, and I want nothing but the best for you. So go out there and smash it today. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.